Hello everyone, welcome to the presentation. A vocabulary hub, like we just saw in the previous presentation, it's a component of the data space that will enable to use reuse ontologies. And I'm actually stressing this word of reuse because we want, for any AECO applications, we are creating more and more ontologies for a very specific purpose. And we want to promote the cause of reusing ontologies, and how we will investigate how this works in using vocabulary hub. So I'll just talk about the main difference between the centralized computing architecture versus decentralized or federated is that the access or the control will rest with the single system in the centralized system that we have seen, whereas in federated or decentralized system, the access or the control is also shared and distributed among different individual systems or subsystems. And international data space, this is from the IDSA. So like we have seen that you have one data provider or a data owner, and we have a data consumer, and the exchange process can happen between this consumer and provider. And there are also other elements like there are other components of the data space that can help in providing more or enriched data during this exchange process. And this is data spaces are created for to promote the common data understanding between provider and consumer, and it also ensures that there is trust and uses open standards and protocols. And creates new opportunities and business models in the end. So this is the simplest schematic of how information exchange process can happen, where a consumer will request for data to a provider, and provider will send the data in response. But when we use ontologies, it is not the direct flow, where raw data is transformed using ontologies at the middle layer, and then the semantic data is sent back to the data consumer for any of the digital twin applications or can. So I've also explained this, the primary use of these ontologies or even the exchange frameworks like IDSA. And these are all, this forms the base in exchanging information exchange between producer and consumer. But in this presentation, we talk more largely about the vocabulary hub, which is the base for promoting ontology reuse in data space context. So you have a provider and consumer. There are other components, and the metadata broker is another component that will also support this reusing of ontology. And we explain this scenario in the process of how data provider will use data space and how data consumer will use the data space. To put it simple, vocabulary hub is just like interfaces running on some web server, but it can also include, for its vocabulary, it can be ontologies which are stored at different resources. You can access through any web URL. There can be, vocabulary can be a taxonomy, and vocabulary can be any schema. So we are not just limiting, or the data space framework is not just limiting the use of ontologies, it is also promoting use of any vocabulary throughout the data space. And like I said, the functionality is not just it's not discovery of ontology or vocabularies, it is beyond discovery. And usually it is available for the data space participants. And in particular, like AECO applications, we want to reuse vocabularies. And main important difference between existing Building Smart Data Dictionary or GraphDB is that this helps for all more additional services like validation or even vocabulary management. And in this work, we have presented a layered architecture for creating a domain-specific vocabulary hub, where the bottom layer is the vocabulary resources, and moving upwards, we have services layer, with different vocabulary services. Like I mentioned, it is not just for discovery, and moving above is the API gateway and the user interfaces layer. But how this vocabulary hub is stacked in AECO context, or it can be in any other domain data space. So usually this data space recommends using RDF or based vocabularies, and it also helps for, it is aligned more for modular, you can create modular ontologies and then use them, and it also enables that semantic interoperability. So at the base of the vocabulary hub or the structure in the information model, you have formalisms like RDF or GML or Express, and then you have a schema definition layer where you use like OWL or Express on it, and then we have an IDS core vocabulary layer that that helps you to describe any data space components or even the participants, and then you have the domain ontologies layer with different industry-specific ontologies. And if you see here, that's particularly CTGML and IFC are non-RDF based. So there is a like provision that you can also do mapping and alignment using vocabulary hub in the data space. And the first and foremost step is to describe the data asset that we have. Using an ontology, like we've seen that exchange process happens between connectors. So you describe a connector using the core IDS vocabulary, and then we have any company-specific or industry, like user-defined vocabularies that we can use to describe a particular sensor in a building. And also we can reuse ontologies like, so I think in this example we have shown how you can describe a sensor in a particular room using SOSA ontology. In all, this is the process how a producer, data provider has to do. So there are two major steps. One is publishing this vocabularies in the vocabulary hub that he is using, and also publishing the self-descriptions. By design, data space cannot store any data except, but of course there is this metadata broker which can also be federated, and we store all this metadata relevant information in the component of data space. And this is the consumer's process, where like we have seen the step 1 and 2 are the two important steps for publishing the self-descriptions of any data asset, or even publishing the ontologies that we are using. From a consumer point of view, data consumer, it can be a digital twin or any other applications. So they first check in the search for the data catalog and look for its description in the metadata broker, and they'll build a connector using this existing metadata information, and then they request a data, and an exchange can happen only between connectors. So this is consumer side connector, and this is provider side connector, where it talks to the provider connector and collect data, and you get the response back from this. This is a scenario where we have two different data you can describe using single ontology, and a connector, a consumer can just create one connector that can collect information from both the ontologies. And in scenario B, where you have one data format, but you can describe it using two different ontologies. So in this process, there is an extra connector that a consumer has to create to have this information exchange. So in summary, I just want to, we have found that this vocabulary hub can help in reusing the ontologies, and it recommends using RDF. However, you can also use other non-RDF ontologies, or also schemas and other schemas. And publishing self-description is an important step in using the data asset. So without that self-description, a consumer cannot understand what data assets that a provider has. And for any domain-specific like CityGML or IFC, we have to do a mapping or alignment, which can also be a part of the vocabulary hub service. And this is majorly used, and in particular, even for my research, I am using to understand how this vocabulary hub can enable semantic interoperability or even data exchange in a federated digital twin kind of